gonna try to continue where I left off on my last video because I felt like I have a message, and I was wanting to talk about why the entertainment industry does not produce stars like Britney Spears and Michael Jackson anymore. Like they have like smaller entertain not like I don't want to call them small like entertainers because obviously, but like like people like Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, and they pop even Taylor Swift. You like they pop up and then they go back and like they pop up and then they go away and then another one comes up and then that person goes away. Like that type of a thing, and they're more like low key. They're not I'm not trying to call them low key, but like they're not like excuse my like my third eye. They're not like as like they're not like a global like pop icon sensation, whatever you want to call it, like Britney Spears and Michael Jackson were. And I think that that's by design. That's what I was trying to talk about. I hate it when my flow state gets interrupted because now I don't really remember what I was going to say. But like I just wanted to talk about, like, because, okay, so here's the thing, because this is also, like, in light of Britney's DUI, like, the alleged Britney DUI, like, because you don't know if it's her or not, and that's what I was getting into. Because this is the thing. So, arguably, so there's this theory that I kind of believe, that Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake passed away in a car crash in 2001. And people were saying it was all over the news at one point that they died in this car crash and then just disappeared. And I think that there's probably truth to that. I don't know if it was that. I don't think that, like, and this is the thing, people have been saying this is not Britney for a very long time. People who weren't conspiracy theorists were saying this is not Britney Spears for a very, very long time. And when you think about it, and this is why I think they stopped creating global pop sensation, because you can look at people like Britney Spears and Michael Jackson and be like, they're very talented, or like, they're, yes, you can look at people like Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, obviously, and being like, they're really talented, they're really good entertainers, like stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they're handed their platform. Like, they were given their platform by the same people who gave Jeffrey Epstein his island for an agenda, and they're supposed to be very well kept under control. And I think that this is harder to maintain when it's a very large pop star, like a pop icon, global pop sensation. Everyone knows who this person is. Everyone knows their music. Everyone knows what they look like. Everyone knows their performances, like, worldwide, Because people, as I was saying, people who don't even have their tinfoil hat on, people who are not even into conspiracy theories were looking at Britney Spears and being like, nah, that's not her. Where'd she go? And, like, so this is why. And also, like, with Michael Jackson, he ended up owning a large part of one of those record companies. I forget if it was Sony or Columbia. And that's one of the reasons why they got rid of him. Because he got too powerful. And the thing is like, when you... And that movie, The Gladiator, with Russell Crowe, I think? And I love that movie. That's, like, I'm not, like, into movies. Like, that's one of the only movies I like. Like, that's one of the, like, not like the only movies I like. I like that one and Kill Bill, but, like, I don't get into movies anymore because, like, ever since I, like, figured out, like, all the satanic stuff that goes behind the scenes. I love the message of that movie. That was a great message about, like, because, like, the whole time, the Emperor wanted to kill Russell Crowe's character. I forget, because it's been so long since I even watched that movie, I forget his name. And he couldn't because the public loved Russell Crowe's character so much that it was like, it took him a really, really long time to kill him off, So it's a really powerful message because, the emperor in ancient Rome had all of the power. It was basically like a dictatorship. He had, like, endless power, yet he could not kill this gladiator that he had purposely turned into a gladiator because he had personal beef with him, that he wanted him exterminated. And he could not kill him because the public loved this guy so much. The entire arena would go off every time they saw this guy. and it got to a point that they would override his decision. Like, there was one point where he, like, had his thumb, like, to kill him off, you had to, like, put your thumb up or something like that. Like, I forget what it was, like, or something like that, and people were, like, cheering that he like, against his will, and it, like, filmed, like, his facial expressions and everything, where he had to, like, was forced to put his thumb down because the public, like, loved this guy. And that kind of shows, like, and also I wanted to bring up, like, just, like, in general, like, with predators and stuff like that, they target people who are kind of, like, on their own, don't have friends or family and stuff like that, because if something happens to that person goes missing, whatever the case, like, less people are going to be wondering where they are, like, they'll be able to get away with stuff easier, you know, that type of a thing. So I think that this is why they don't make global pop sensations and stuff like Britney Spears and Michael Jackson anymore, because, like, the whole world knows who these people are, and they can't get away with doing as much crap, like, you know, doing mind, because obviously these people are under mind control, they have to be controlled and stuff like that. So maybe something like there's, like, a glitch in the system, they want to do something that's, like, nefarious, and people are going to catch on to it, they don't want to make it obvious. You know, they had to spend more time trying to find, like, a body double for this person because everyone knows who this person is at such, like, a level, you know? So I think that that's why they don't make, like, pop sensations and stuff like that, like Britney Spears and Michael Jackson anymore, because it's not as easy for them to control anymore. Like, not as easy for them to control, you know? Whereas someone like, maybe, like, Olivia Rodrigo, you know, they can send in her body double, and, like, yeah, people know who she is, people like her music, you know, obviously, like, I think she's at, like, the Grammys, whatever, but, like, it's not, like, on the level of Britney Spears or Michael Jackson, where people would be like, what's going on? Even people are even, like, side-eyeing Selena Gomez now. You know, but here's the thing, people were on the Britney Spears being cloned or her having a body double before, like way before all this Jeffrey Epstein came out. Like, people are now, like, more open-minded to cloning and body doubles and stuff like that. People were on to Britney Spears not being the real Britney Spears before that was even a thing. And back in the day, if you were going to go around saying stuff like that, people would look at you like you're crazy, you know? And still people were saying that's not Britney Spears. Even during a time where what totally wasn't kosher or whatever, to say, hey, that's a clone, hey, that's a body double, people were looking at Britney Spears and being like, that's not her, they're cloning her, that's a stand-in, whatever. You know? Like, what happened to the real Britney? I hope she's okay. Stuff like that. Even during a time where like, it wasn't, like, you know, a thing to be, like, talking about cloning and body doubles, and, like, if you were to say stuff like that, people would look at you like, no, that's not true. You know? And I think that that's why they stopped making pop stars like that, or just, like, stars in general like that. I think maybe that's also why the collapse of, like, celebrity, you know, because it used to be, like, a huge, back in, like, the 2000s and stuff like that, huge celebrity culture, and the 2000s before that, huge, like, celebrity culture. And I'm not, like, an advocate for celebrity culture, but I think that that's why they stopped making these big household names, is because they're not easy to control. You know, like, they can't get away with stuff. Like, they can't get away with doing things to them, or, like, creating a stand-in or whatever they need to feel like they need to do with these people. Like, they do put them through all these rituals, have them go to all these parties, you know, and, like, they start glitching, malfunctioning, and everyone's like, what's going on? You know, like, it's much easier to take someone, for example, like Sabrina Carpenter, have her pop up, like, enough for people to know who she is, have her go away, replace her with someone else for the moment, then bring that person away, have her come back up. Like, it's much easier to control. I think it's much easier for them to control these stars under those types of circumstances than someone who's like Britney Spears or Michael Jackson, like, global fame, everyone knows who they are. You know, I think it's very much like that scene in that movie, The Gladiator, where the emperor, who is like a dictator and had this endless power, could not get rid of the guy that he wanted to get rid of because the public was so acquainted with him. You know, I think it's very like similar to that. That's why we don't see people. That's why they don't create stars like that anymore. And that's what I wanted to say before I got cut off.